Today's eMoney tip of the week is on disability. We're going to walk you through step by step on how to input disability insurance policies and how to also show a client the consequences of a disability in their plan. So we're going to start out with our sample client, Pam and James Helper. We're going to go under facts. As you know, in any of my other eMoney tip of the weeks, I always like to stay in base facts, not advanced facts, because we want to get used to being inside of here all the time. We're going to click on protection, and we're going to go to add, and we're going to add a disability income insurance policy. So the first thing we want to do is we're going to name this. Let's say this is for Pam, so we're going to put, first I should do it for Jim with the way this client's set up. So Jim, disability policy. I can't type very well, so you have to deal with that. And then because we're putting Jim here, let's go ahead and put James Helper. The owner is going to be James Helper. Benefit type, this is going to be based upon the policy you have in front of you. The majority of the ones we see are a percentage of salary if they're group policies. A lot of private ones are a fixed amount. But we're going to use for this one, we're going to pretend it's the basic group policy we see the most. We're going to use 60%, and we'll put annual premium here. We're going to put $0 because it's paid for by their employer. We're going to click under advanced here. Again, you can go under advanced to do this, but we like to stay in base facts and not go into advanced till we have to. I have other eMoney tips of the week where I talk about this. This is where you put their policy number. This is a group policy, and by the way, you might even want to put Jim's group disability here if you want to have that in there. You can put the institution if you have it. This is going to be a group long-term disability policy. Really important to make sure, based upon the policy, that you put the right information in here. Purchase date's not going to matter so much because it's a group policy. Insured's going to be Jim. The owner's going to be Jim. All right. Term ends at retirement. Yes. All right. Because this particular one is going to, if he retires, is no longer being existent. Elimination day, we're going to pretend I have the policy in front of me. Let's pretend it's 90 days. We typically see 90 or 80 days. Typically with a group policy, we're not going to see own OC. So premium, we're going to leave at $0. We're not going to put the years in here because again, it's a group policy. The premium payer, I'm going to leave it to be, we're not going to leave it to be James Helper. We're going to put employer paid. Because again, this is really important. If this is employer paid, this is going to change the taxation of the policy. Really important to make sure you fill that out correctly. The benefit here is a percentage of salary, 60%. Is the benefit taxable? Well, if it's employer paid, it's going to be taxable, yes. Maximum initial benefit cap, again, you pull this from the policy. Benefit period, we're going to say it's to age 65. Again, you have to pull it from your policy. There's no COLA on this particular one. Make sure if you do have a COLA or cost of living adjustment, make sure you look to see if the policy is simple or compound. Most of the ones I see are simple. Reduced by Social Security disability, this particular one, we're going to put yes. Again, you can put anything you want in here. We're going to have saved. Just make sure you're reading through the policies and get this information. That's what this is teaching you on how to read a policy. If you need help on that, you need to reach out to another resource. We're assuming you know how to do that. So now we have Jim in there. So how do we show this technique? We're going to click on plans. And I typically, if you've seen my other eMoney tip of the weeks, we always use alternatives to build everything out. And then we copy and paste that. But for this one, we're going to use eMoney tip of the week disability. I just created this one this morning just to share with you because I already have this technique built out in a lot of the other ones. So we're going to click add new, and we're going to go to a health event here. So if you click new, it's going to add it in here. We're going to want to put, label this, I'll put disability Jim. Again, I can't type. So we're going to have disability Jim. Make sure it's disability, not long-term care. It's going to be on James Helper. We personally like to do this 5 years out from where the client's current age is as a general rule of thumb. So we see that James is 40, so we're going to want to do this at 45. The reason why we do that is we don't want to have somebody get emotionally traumatized and think about getting disabled the second they leave our office. It's important to have that conversation, but we also want to keep in mind that clients can run into a lot of emotional issues. You can put additional expenses in here. We're not going to show additional expenses because, yes, there could be a handicap ramp. There could be additional things. We really just want to show in this illustration the pain point of not having that income coming in and only having 60% of your income and having it taxable. Index and inflation is what we leave our default to. You can put custom. For expenses, we do 3.5% as routine, but for this, we just leave it at inflation because we want to really just have the conversation around this. So you can also go into report parameters and you can put additional information in here based upon what you want to show the client. But for this base policy, we're going to hit save in here. The other thing I want to show you quickly how you can do is, what if a client didn't have an insurance policy? Or what if they just have a group policy and want to show them an additional policy? So this is where you can go in here. Again, we're going to add new. This wouldn't be a health event. Why is this not a health event? Because we're showing them solution. It would be insurance. So we're going to add new insurance. We're going to click on disability. And this is where you can put Jim, additional disability policy. And a lot of times we'll go out and get a quote for a client to figure out what this is, but if it's just for illustration, we just want to have a conversation and see if there's a solution we should look at. So we're going to put personal long-term care here. We're going to put James. Owner's going to be James. We're going to put ends at retirement. Yes. Elimination. Let's just say we got a 180-day policy. Let's say it has home occupation in there. And let's put the annual premium. And let's just say it's going to be $2,000. The premium year, we're going to put this is a, let's say it's a 15-year premium policy. Again, all this stuff would be based upon that policy. Premium payer, it's going to be James Helper. We're going to put a fixed amount. And let's just say he's going to get an additional $15,000 a year. Let's not worry about this is 2,000 versus 15. I'm just doing this for an illustration purpose. You'll have to go out and get quotes. Is this taxable? No, because he's paying it. Benefit period is going to be age 65. Let's put a simple one on here, and let's put it at let's pretend we have a 2% policy rider on here. Again, if you increase the price of this, that's not what the point of this. I'm just showing you how to do this inside of here. You can also go into ownership and get in a little more detail. So now we're going to hit save. So now we can have this conversation. And again, we would do this normally in alternatives, but so we can have a bunch of different things to click on. For this purpose, I'm just going to show you as an eMoney tip of the week. This is a quick way to get the Decision Center right to this. So you can also go into Decision Center and pull up the scenario. We'll pull up the scenario right away. Now, and you can see that I purposely did this, that both of these are clicked on. So you can go when you're under advanced planning and click these off, or we clicked them off on here, because we really want to see the effect of these in particular. So this is where you tell the client, Mr. and Mrs. Client, where you're currently existing, with all your goals that you provided me with, all the information, you have an 86% probability of success. And we usually like to have this in Monte Carlo summary, so it's right in front of their face. If Jim got disabled with his current policy he has at work, it's going to have an impact on your financial lives. And you can see right here, not a major problem for this particular client, the way they're set up, 82%, so maybe we don't want to look at that, but maybe that doesn't make them feel comfortable. Maybe they want to have an additional policy, and we can say, okay, now if we have this additional policy, what happens here? We increase our percentage to 88%, but if we take off this disability, we want to look at the cost of this policy. How does it affect all their goals? So we can see that they're 86% without paying us $2,000 per year, and where they're at, it doesn't move the needle. So then we have to have more of a cash flow conversation. Does it make sense to pay this cost of insurance to protect against this risk? We hope this tip helped educate and empower you to do more plans for your clients so that you can impact more lives through financial planning. If you have some great tips we don't know about, we'd love to hear about them. If you have a better way of doing what we just showed you, we'd love to hear about that, because we are a noble profession, and together we can elevate the profession.